Hello and welcome to the City of Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, November 8th. I call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please.
David, Alberhaski,
Here.
Chrisman,
Here.
Yubovich,
Here.
Hartley,
Here.
Leeper, no, Lynch, no, Moser,
Here.
Dahlman.
Here. All right, thank you. First agenda item is approval of minutes or comments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, that goes into record. Now, this is a portion of the meeting for public comment for anything that is not on the agenda tonight. If anyone would like to speak to the commission, I do not see any takers, so we will move on to new business. The first item for new business is a preliminary and final plat for Autumn Ridge 12th Edition. And who has this? JD, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, tonight's new business, the first project we have is the preliminary and final plat for Autumn Ridge 12th Edition, which is a replat of 1.06 acres east of Golden Lane. Yep, here you go, sorry. So this area, as highlighted on your map, is basically a proposed area for the preliminary and the final plat. It is going to be a replat of Autumn Ridge 8th Edition, which was already platted. Just to give a background, this subject property is Lot 8 to 14 of Autumn Ridge 8th Edition, which was approved by City Council in 2018. Autumn Ridge 8th created about 14 residential units along Thresher Court and Golden Lane. And it was in the form of 2-unit dwelling and 3-unit dwelling. And this area is also part of the RP master plan for the entire Autumn Ridge development. So the proposal here tonight is to re-subdivide the lots 8 to 14 of Autumn Ridge 8th to adjust the internal lot lines. I want to note no additional lots will be created with the intent of this plat, but it is just about adjusting the internal lot lines to fit the current and the proposed residential units. With that, I'd just like to analyze what is going on here. So as mentioned, the highlighted blue area, the blue hatched area is where the existing 2-unit dwelling is already built. And they are 2 separate owners, and the yellow hatched area is basically all owned by the developer. Currently, a new 2-unit building is under construction, which is highlighted in green at the top. It's almost built out, and then there is a provision for a future 3-unit building in the center, which will be added at a later date. The proposed setback, the front setback is 20 feet for all units, 20 feet for rear setbacks, and 5 feet side yard setback, which would be 5 feet from the property lines. With lot sizes, the required lot width is 30 feet and 4,000 square feet for an attached unit in this district. The proposed lot width would be between 42 to 63, and the lot area varies from 5,000 to 10,500 square feet. So basically, we wanted to make sure that since they were adjusting the lot lines, all lots are correct as per the zoning code, and as well as the plan that they developed. With that, there are a couple of technical comments. One would be this is the re-subdivision of Autumn Ridge 8th Edition. And so basically, when this final plat will be approved, it will replace the previous final plat of this area. All necessary legal documents for this re-subdivision will be required prior to submittal to City Council for approval. And I think we've received most of the documents to go forward. With that, staff recommends approval of the proposed preliminary plat for Autumn Ridge 12th Edition, a re-subdivision of portion of Autumn Ridge 8th Edition, subject to comments specified by Planning and Zoning Commission, and conforming to all city staff recommendations. We do have a developer here, as well as the engineer who prepared the plat, and I'll be able to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, JD. Is someone from the petitioner here tonight and like to speak? Thank you. Name and address for the record.
Dennis Happel, BNKD of Waverly. This is just a housekeeping issue. When we built 14 and 16, or the duplex at 14 and 16 Golden Lane, it didn't get staked out properly. And so we have to align the property lines with what was built and then accommodate what we're going to do moving forward. The duplex at 414 and 416 are zero lot line, and so they have to line up on the lot, and that didn't happen. So this is just simply to clean that mess up. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone from the public like to speak to this item? I see none. I'll bring it back to commission. Any questions for staff or developer or comments?
I think this seems pretty straightforward. Glad we're getting everything cleaned up and tidy, and I move to recommend approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more comment or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Abrahamsky,
Aye.
Chrisman,
Aye.
Grubevich,
Aye.
Hartley,
Aye.
Lynch, excuse me, not here, Moser,
Aye.
and Stalnaker.
Aye.
Okay. We have 6 aye votes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on to the next new business item is a land use map amendment and rezoning from an R1 and MU to a RP for approximately 54 acres of land north of Eldridge Elementary. And who will be speaking to this, JD? Thank you.
Yes, that would be me again. Thank you. So, good evening again. This is the second case for tonight. There are 2 cases here. One is the land use map amendment and rezoning for Panther West development for the area highlighted in yellow, which is 54.79 acres, north of Aldrich Elementary School and south of West Green Hill Road. Sorry. There you go. Just a bit of background on this property. So there are 2 existing pieces which I wanted to highlight before we go into the proposal. As you can see on your screen, the hatched green area, which is about 14.19 acres, was rezoned from A1 to MU with an approved MU district plan to create a multi-unit development consisting of residential and professional offices in July 2016. And then a preliminary plat for that area was approved in September 2018, but there was no work done, hence the plat expired, so it's currently unplatted. But the MU district plan remains as is. The second, the blue hatched area is about 40-acre parcel, which was rezoned from A1 to R1 in February 2019. And later, a preliminary plat for that area was never approved, so it again remains unplatted. In total, the entire area, which is the subject for land use map amendment and rezoning, is unplatted at this moment. So the proposal here is to rezone the area from R1 Residence District and MU Mixed-Use Residential District to RP Planned Residential District. And the request is to amend the future land use map in the comprehensive plan, in the city's comprehensive plan, from neighborhood commercial and mixed use, greenways and floodplain use, and low density residential use, all to low density residential use. Just wanted to note, RP district requires submittal of a RP master plan as well as the development procedure agreement that guides the development. So it's just a part of the rezoning process. We'll start with the land use map amendment. As any rezoning request, we would first see is whether the future land use map or the city's comprehensive plan, is it consistent with that or not? So the proposed rezoning request is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. As I mentioned, rezoning can only be approved if it is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which is why the applicant is requesting both those land use map amendment and rezoning requests. In city's comprehensive plan document, as you can see on your screen, this area is listed as low density residential use, which usually emphasizes single family development, detached single family development. The green area is the greenways and floodplain use, which is intended for preservation of environmentally sensitive area and crucial scenic corridors and their possible incorporation into city's trail system. The red area or the pink area or salmon colored area is basically the neighborhood commercial and mixed use area, which is intended for the development of low impact commercial uses, providing variety of neighborhood services and residential units above commercial development with better pedestrian connectivity to surrounding area is something which is this land use is intended for. Moving on, so the subject property may not be ideal for having commercial uses with the presence of neighborhoods serving commercial uses in the nearby areas, which is along the Green Hill Road. There's a need for more residential development in the community that you may all be aware of, and taking entire portion of greenway and floodplain use may not be acceptable as per the city's comprehensive plan, as I just mentioned. So our staff recommendation for the land use map changes recommends changing designation to low density residential use and adjust the greenway and floodplain use to better align with a stream corridor, the floodway area, and also leaving enough space for a future public trail. So this is like the proposed map that it could be on the screen to the right. And maintaining the greenway designation along the northern edge to ensure there is adequate buffer between the low density residential development as well as the floodway area. So those are our recommendations. Moving on to zoning, the proposal is requesting rezoning from R1 and MU to RP district. The currently proposal, as we discussed, it's currently zoned R1 and MU. R1 district basically allows development of low density residential uses, including any other uses that may allow, which includes churches, which includes schools, and the MU district is intended to accommodate integrated residential and neighborhood commercial uses on a larger piece of tract to create a self-supporting neighborhood. So those are what this zone are intended for. With that, the proposed RP zoning district permits establishment of multi-use and integrated residential development to provide planned growth for the entire area. And RP district also allows flexibility in types of dwelling sizes, lot sizes, dwelling types, building heights, and setbacks. So it's all up to the developer, however he wants to develop this, can develop, but making sure that it is complying with the RP plan that he proposes and the development agreement. Moving on, this is the proposed RP master plan. First thing I wanted to highlight is, so the lot lines that you see on this master plan are not are just for illustration purpose. It's not accurate, so it may change when they come for preliminary plat. The proposal here is to restrict the entire development to detached single-family dwellings. As mentioned earlier, exact number of lots will be identified at the platting level. The proposed setbacks for this would be a perimeter setback, which will be a 30 feet setback along the rear of the property lines, and except for few lots which will be having their side lot lines along the perimeter edge, which will follow the side yard setback. The front yard setback is 25 feet for most of the lots, except for the corner lots where they would have 2 frontage, so it would be 20 feet on the secondary frontage. The side yard setback proposed is 5 feet from lot lines, and the rear yard is 30 feet. So that's the proposal for the master plan for this whole area. There are some good pieces that we want to highlight for this proposed plan. One is it will be extending critical connections, including extension of Arbors Drive from the south, so all the way from Aldrich Elementary School up to the Green Hill Road. So that will be addressed with this plan. When this plan gets approved, it will be also allowing extension of Ironwood Drive to the west. It is the existing drive from the east, which is the existing neighborhood. So it will allow that existing neighborhood to connect to this neighborhood. Also, same time connects to Arbors Drive, making them a clear path, a secondary path to the school as well as the Green Hill Road. And then it will also, Ironwood Drive will be extended from the development to the east towards the north, making a connection to the Green Hill Road, and a Richard Road extension, which will be extended from the east into this development that will be connecting to Arbors Drive, providing a much-needed connection to the school as well as Green Hill Road. And not only that, it will allow more traffic distribution in that sense. With this plat, the developer is also proposing Madeline Street, which is highlighted by a green arrow, which is going to be extended to the western border of this development, which will allow possible opportunity for future extension of city services and development and open development opportunities to the area to the west, which is unplatted. The proposed master plan will be done in 4 phases, as I highlighted. There are 4 phases in which this entire development will be done. As mentioned, 2 of the critical connections, that includes Arbors Drive and Ironwood Drive, will be addressed in phase 1. Staff recommendation for phasing is to include extension of Richard Road, which was the 3rd critical connection that we discussed earlier, and all the lots north of Richard Road in phase 1. So to the right that you see is the proposed phasing plan from the staff, recommending extension of Richard Road and the lots north of Richard Road in phase 1. The extension would allow additional route to Aldrich Elementary School, as well as moving in and out traffic for both the existing neighborhood as well as this proposed neighborhood. And this extension will also distribute the traffic and also allow possibility to bike or walk from the neighborhood to the schools and from. So those are our staff recommendation for phasing. Other evaluations when we do a rezoning is we want to make sure that is the proposed area which is considered for rezoning, is it under environmentally sensitive area or not? The subject property does not fall within that area. As you can see, it's next to the floodplain, but it is not in the floodplain. But however, as noted earlier, the greenway should be able to protect as a buffer between the development and the floodway. Access to public services. All city services are available currently adjacent property along southern and the eastern boundary, and access to adequate street network. The proposal, as mentioned, as discussed earlier, the proposed master plan will allow better street connectivity in this neighborhood. Some technical comments. One thing is we want to note down that a development procedure agreement must be finalized prior to public hearing at City Council. So the developer will be working on that once they get directions from Planning and Zoning Commission. And staff recommends the following modifications to RP plan. Firstly, to add Richard Road connection to Arbors Drive and all lots north of it in phase 1. denote a future public trail along the northern edge of the subject property, which was the buffer that we discussed, and update the land use map amendment exhibit to reflect the recommended land use change to low density residential use and readjust the greenway and floodplain use as we proposed. With that, staff recommends setting up date of public hearing for 21st November 2023 to discuss this future land use map request and the rezoning request for the proposed rezoning and land use map amendment for Panther West, and discuss this proposal at this meeting. We have developer as well as the engineer who prepared these drawings here to answer any questions, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer too. Thank you.
Thank you, JD. Does Commission have any questions for staff? Is the petitioner here tonight and want to speak to this? Name and address, please.
Yeah, Kevin Fitro, Panther Builders, Panther Farms, Cedar Falls, Iowa. Here to answer questions that might come up as we move forward, but in our view of looking at it, it's tough to plan 10 years ahead of what's going to happen. As we look at what's developed around there, the path through the school, for a number of reasons, we felt being an RP residential single-family community would be better than the MU district, where we were originally looking at 10 plexes in there. Just the traffic it would create, and then now with the homes and families that are in there, we feel this is the best proposal to move forward with. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone from the public like to speak to this item? Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Todd Coulter. I live at 4605 Eden Way, which is right in the backyard of all those, the new project. I've lived in my home since July of 2018. We're one of the first ones in the neighborhood. We love it. We love where we live. When I talk about where I live, I tell my friends I live out my front door, I'm in the middle of the city, out my back door, I'm in the middle of the country. Always knew that there was a possibility that it was going to be developed behind us. My number one concern is that in my backyard, I have pictures here, there's an easement for water, okay? And I know the map isn't final to where the lots and things are going to be, but my question is how those are going to be built, if they're going to come right up to my backyard and to my neighbor's backyards that are also here. I'll show you these. Can I bring these pictures so you can look at them a little closer if you'd like, or?
You can submit them up here, and yeah,
Okay.
we can take a look at them, yes.
Because
And we will try to formulate some answers for you tonight, but if not, we may have to use next meeting also. This is just to set the public hearing, so, but yes, please.
I've never done this.
No, you're good, thank you. We just typically don't do a question and answer here, so if there's some questions you want to ask, then when you sit down, we'll try to formulate some answers with the staff and try to address that, so.
Yeah, that's totally, like I said, I've never done this before, but I'm just concerned as well as my Eden Road neighbors, what's going to happen with that easement that's behind us and where the water's going to go. We knew eventually that maybe this was going to happen. I'm just very concerned about where, like you'll see these pictures, there's a lot of water there. I mean, it drained fabulously, but if there's houses in someone else's backyard there, where's it going to go?
Okay,
Is that it?
thank you very much. So I don't know if staff wants to answer that, but I do know undeveloped land isn't built to drain, and when you develop land, there is, water management that's they're responsible for. So there would be, you think, an improvement developing it versus it being just raw land. So I don't know if the staff would like to.
Well, and I was going to say, at the time that the property is platted, that will be addressed further to make sure that the drainage is away from the adjoining developed properties and contained within the new subdivision. And that would be for each phase as it went through.
In that picture, there is a big, we call it rock pile, there's a big rock pile, there's a drain that goes down to a waterway that takes the waterway. That water, it drains away within about 2 hours' time. It just, if
Okay, yeah,
Thank
again,
you.
they'll have to provide that information with the plating process. And that, again, they can't increase anything that's going onto your properties.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak to this? Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Paul Smith. I live at 2311 Andy Avenue, so I'm not within the 300 feet, but I've got a few questions. JD, if you would be so kind as to put the initial screen up for me, please.
Just the master plan?
The very first screen that you showed.
Okay, 1 second.
Next one,
This one?
that one.
This one.
I have to preface this by saying I went to school in West Des Moines, so math is not necessarily my strong suit. But as I add 40 acres and 14.1 acres, I don't get 54.79. So can you help me understand where the
Sure.
extra land came from? And then my second question is, if I am understanding what you are proposing, RP zoning is just going to be single-family, similar to what we currently have, is that correct?
You want
Yeah,
to
we'll
answer?
answer questions when you sit down.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to address
Sure.
questions?
So yes, your math is correct. So there is a small lot which, as I have shown on this screen here, which is not hatched, is basically being added with this proposal. So that's what the rest of the acres are. So yeah, but your math is correct, sir. And then to answer, what was the second?
What is RP?
Yes, so RP district, what does it allow?
What does it allow? Yep.
So RP district allows, as I mentioned, it allows any sort of residential uses, or it's basically a planned residential development. Whatever is proposed in the master plan, which the developer has proposed, he has indicated that this will be all single-family units. So that's what it's going to be, unless it's changed. I'm sure the developer would like to answer that question too. So.
And just to note, if there was a change to the master plan, it would come back through the process because it would technically be a rezoning. So if they follow through with the single family, that's fine. If they would want to come back and change any of that, then there would be a public hearing and there would be notifications and so forth.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Name and address, please.
Don Forsythe, 4611 Eden Way. Like Todd was talking about with the waterway in our backyard there, when we bought our place, and I realize this has nothing to do with you, we were told that that waterway would stay there permanently, so we wouldn't have to worry about nobody infringing on our backyard for that 60 feet or whatever it is there. And there is a holding pond up by Aldridge School that drains into that. And so I would hope that this water would stay, and that's kind of what we'd like to see. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else from the public like to speak? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Is there any questions for staff or discussion?
Well, I think it's great that there's a plan to connect Ironwood Drive. I know I've heard from a lot of neighbors that that is certainly an issue, and so I think connecting that to Green Hill is going to be a good improvement. I know we've heard from many neighbors in many different places a concern about water runoff. In Cedar Falls, we have very high standards to handle that runoff water. So if that puts your mind at ease at all, the city will hold the developer to the expectation to manage that water up to city code. So you will most likely not see as much water in your backyard. That's just the way the development works. You know, you're looking at a flat field right now, and once you put houses on it, then that's going to start to control some of that water. And once we start to see those plans, you are more than welcome to be a part of that and to raise those concerns again. So, yeah, I think this looks good. I'm excited to see Cedar Falls continue to expand and to see some lots opening up. I know that's a big need for us right now. So I would make a motion to set the public hearing.
A motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Before the public hearing, if there was a possibility or a way for the developer to meet with the neighbors and to have a conversation to be able to address some of the concerns and answer some of the questions, I can imagine that the residents in the area would appreciate that. So I know that we cannot require anything like that, but if we can ask the developer to consider, please do.
Thank you. I agree. Does staff want to just kind of give an overview on runoff water regulation, on exactly what each developer is required to do for any development?
That is a technical question. I hope engineering would here to answer that. But I would just say generally those things are taken care of when the platting for this development would come in. And I think general rule of thumb is whatever is being developed, they will have to provide own detention area or management facility for that neighborhood. So I don't think it will be using existing facilities around. But as I said, I'm not the person to answer that question, but we'll take care of those questions at the platting level.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Alberhaski,
Aye.
Chrisman,
Aye.
Gribovich,
Aye.
Hartley,
Aye.
Leeper and Lynch are not in, Moser,
Aye.
and Stolnaker.
Aye.
Okay, we had 6
All right.
votes for.
Okay, thank you very much. And that will, the public meeting has been set for the next P&Z meeting, which,
And I will note that it is November 21st, which is on a Tuesday evening, because your regular scheduled Wednesday meetings would be the night before Thanksgiving.
okay. All right, thank you. And that closes new business for the meeting. There is no old business for the meeting. Next agenda item is commission updates.
I do not have any
Okay.
current updates.
Okay, thank you. It does say fact-finding requirements on here. I just wanted to make sure we're not skipping over anything.
And I think that was a question. I wasn't
Okay.
part of this, sort of that question, but reading through what it says, you're not required by law to do a finding of fact, which is providing the basis for your decision.
Oh, okay.
It's welcomed, but it's not necessarily something, because you're not the decision maker. The findings would ultimately follow with the council.
Yep, okay. Thank you. All right, well, that would conclude our meeting tonight. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. We are adjourned.